hits you, if someone comes and hits you, is that your fault? No, if someone hits you, it's their fault. So what do you do in that account? You guys know?
Call you.
Okay. Get their information. Got easy, right? So the first thing you're gonna do is ask for their insurance and driver's license. Okay? Insurance and driver's license. So what you do is you just take a picture of their ID card, right? Or you're gonna take a picture of their driver's license. Okay? The next thing that you would do, and always, because you guys drive commercial vehicles, is always call 911 and report the accident. That's very, very, very important. Even if a police officer doesn't come out, you still want to report it, okay? And why is that?
Is it 911 and not the
311?
non-emergency liners?
Either or will take it, okay? Especially being out in the field. The most important thing is that there's some record, right? That there was some form of accident, okay? So we want to make sure that that happens. What if someone hits you and then they like flee? That's what we call a hit and run, right? What do you do there?
Call police.
You do what?
Call police.
Call the police, right? You still need to call the police. What I would recommend, not only when you have an accident, you're going to take pictures of their ID cards and their driver's licenses, but you're also going to take pictures of the damage to your vehicle. Even let's say they hit you and it doesn't damage the vehicle and it damages their vehicle. That's happened to me, right? Some of these older vehicles, they may hit you and it doesn't do anything to your van because your van's really strong, right? But for the other vehicle, it may hurt them, okay? You always want to take pictures, okay? And then after that, once you call the police, you get a record of it, and then you go to your
Insurance carrier.
yes, your insurance carrier, right? You want to, of course, make sure someone in the office, which would be Tony, right, or Amanda, or yourself as well, right, to have a recollection of what, or a count of what happened, right? Also, there may be an instance where the accident causes injury, right? The accident may cause injury, not only to yourself, but let's say people that are in the vehicle or to the other person as well. The good thing is that you guys have great insurance, right? And you guys are fully covered, so you know what to do in those instances, right? So if a claim, any questions if something happens if you get in an accident or claim? No? No? Okay. Now, every one of you guys are responsible drivers and employees, right? If you guys outside of work get a ticket, right? Do you think that would affect your driving history here? Oh, it does. Okay. So we want to make sure that not only are you guys safe drivers at work, but outside of work, if you guys have tickets or accidents, your driving record actually impacts your employer. Did you guys know that? Yeah, it does. It impacts the employer, especially to whatever pricing the vehicle is, because in insurance, we assess risk, right? And who here is risky? Anyone risky? Like to take risks? I know you do. You're not saying it in front of your bosses. I know you're not saying it. But please be extra careful in or outside your vehicle at work or outside of work, because that affects your rates. Cool? Yeah. Questions about what happens in the event at work for accidents? Right. Okay. Yes.
So a lot of times now you see a lot of people driving around with paper plates.
Yes.
So is that a for sure instance to call the police immediately rather than just take pictures and...
So I would call the police no matter what, just to get a record of it, okay? The other thing is if you take a picture of their VIN number, let's say you can't get the plate, if you take a picture of their VIN number, like they open the door, do you know where the VIN numbers are? So you open, yep, you open the door, you take a picture there, or even on the front dash, sometimes the VIN numbers are on the driver's side, right, on the left. If you take a picture of the VIN, that VIN is registered to an insurance, okay? So you know how the police pull you over and they look up either your driver's license, they also look up your VIN number, because the VIN number is actually registered to an insurance company, okay? A lot of people don't realize that, okay? But that's what we have, what we call a motor vehicle record in the state of Texas. Any vehicle VINs, driver's license, are registered to insurance, okay? Right?
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully, right? The other thing that you guys want to be aware of is we have collision accidents, we have hit and runs. What's another thing that can happen in Houston? Theft. Oh my gosh, they could steal a vehicle, right? You'd be surprised how many vehicles, or even specifically you're thinking about vans and work vans, right? Because some of those parts are limited, right? Sometimes you can't get certain parts. Good. Beth, what else? Vandalism, yeah, theft,
Does that cover road rage?
Road rage, okay. Yeah, so in what way? Like, they pull a gun on you, yes, and trying to take your vehicle, or let's say.
No, it shoots you. Don't cover
Oh,
that.
they shoot you, yes. We do cover you in that event as well, okay? That can get into a little more of life insurance if you pass away, right? But yes, we cover that. What else is a big one in Houston? Any other thoughts? Maybe there's a lot of water. What happens if there's a lot of water?
Oh, flood, yeah.
Flooding, right? Very important as we are in hurricane season right now. If you have the vehicles at home, okay, or if you have them at a job site, you want to make sure where you're going to park them, okay? Because all of a sudden in Houston, after 2 or 3 hours of rain, something could flood, right? And we don't want those vehicles to flood either, okay? So if you have them at home, make sure, especially during it's hurricane season right now, that you're parking them in an area that's not going to be flooded. And we consider flooding in for State Farm claims if the water gets to the bottom of your seat in the vehicle. If the water gets to the bottom of the seat, we consider it a total loss. Did you guys know that? That's in personal vehicles and in commercial vehicles, okay? So that's the last thing that you want to put your employers through, is having to get a new vehicle and all that jazz, right? But you want to be careful about flooding. And also, you think you should go through all that water? Okay, because you got a van? Okay, please do not, okay? If you are sitting in the van and it comes up to the bottom of the seat, just don't do it. Okay, just don't do it. Maybe y'all's trucks that's lifted, if you guys have lifted trucks, can do that, but please do not do that, right? Questions about flooding? No? Especially with all the rain, just be careful of that. The biggest thing too is flat tires can happen from a lot of our wonderful Houston roads, right? We have phenomenal roads in Houston, don't we? All these wonderful potholes and this random construction, right? So just be aware of that, because that could actually damage your tires. And to service your vehicles, we do recommend to get brand new tires within 50,000 miles.
Does our policy have roadside assistance on these commercial vehicles?
Yes, it does. It's actually covered into the claim that you guys have. So whenever you file a claim, towing is also included. Roadside assistance is considered towing.
No, I mean for like tires or something like that.
It would
If these
depend-
guys, we don't want them on the side of the road trying to change a tire on a vehicle.
Right. We don't have like a service like AAA on that side, right? But if the vehicle is damaged, you can file a claim, and we do have like an emergency roadside service that comes out to you. It's not like AAA though, okay? We go through a company called Agiro. Agiro is our emergency roadside service, okay? And if anything like that happens, in your pamphlets, you have my business card, okay? So I would recommend to keep that in your wallets, right? Or if anything comes up, our office number is on there, and we have during the day, we have, of course, our team. We actually have 2 offices. We have one in the Heights and one in Edo, okay? And we have about 9 employees. We have 5 employees that are specifically geared towards service, changes, claims. So if anything that you need during the day, we're there. And then we have an after hours team, okay? So after 5 o'clock into the night up until 9 o'clock, we have an after hours team for you guys, right? Questions about
Do you know if they still have a Safe Clear here in Houston?
that? Safe Light, like the,
No, Safe Clear where they'll tow you off the freeways.
oh.
Remember the city had that program?
Yes, they still do have that program.
Okay.
Yeah, they still do. Because remember they passed that ordinance that you couldn't have your vehicle on the side of the freeway for a certain amount of time. If not, the city would come and tow it.
I didn't know if that was still active or not.
Yeah. due to COVID, not a lot of drivers are out there, but those tow truck companies still are, right? And so we work with local tow truck companies as well. Fast Tow is a big one that we use here in the Heights. They're locally owned small business owners as well that we use. Wonderful. Questions about in the vehicle with Hexagon Plumbing? What do you do?
You said fast tow?
Fast Tow. Anyone have any questions about the vehicles that you guys are driving? Safety, always wear your seatbelt, right? Also, if you guys have taken defensive driving, that help. Anyone here taken defensive driving?
Oh yeah, I did when I got my license.
Perfect, yeah.
It was like an all-day course.
Yeah,
everything.
yeah. That's awesome. If you guys do that as well, it gives you like safety discounts on your policies, okay? That's important. And it also gives you extra discounts on your personal insurance as well, okay? So on the commercial side, because you have commercial vehicles, that's a little bit about safety for them. Do y'all have any questions about commercial, like you driving in Hexagon Plumbing vehicles? No? Are you guys surprised how many claims happen just in the inner loop? How many people are driving without insurance, right? So you always want to make sure that we're your defensive drivers, right? Very cool. I'm going to jump into a little bit more of like personal insurance now. First of all, how much time do I have?
As much as you need.
As much as I need. Wow. Okay. So I am an open book when it comes to insurance. Even some crazy questions that you guys want to ask, I am here for that. So I'm going to jump into personal insurance and why personal insurance is so important for you guys because it affects your insurance that you have here at the business. Okay. Before I want to get into that, we're going to start with the basic auto insurance. Okay. Who here actually has personal auto insurance? Yay! Okay. Personal auto insurance. There are main coverages within a personal auto policy. If you guys open up your packets, right? The first on your right hand side, right? The first pamphlet is all about auto insurance. Okay. Different coverages. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'm going to go through the most important ones. The next one, who here owns a home? Yeah, okay. There's homeowners insurance. Who here rents? Rents? Yes and no. And then in the back, if you guys have questions for me. For the first one is for personal auto insurance. Personal auto insurance, who here knows what full coverage is? What's full coverage? Full coverage.
I covered your car and the other person's car.
Okay. Okay, good.
Comprehensive and collision?
Comprehensive and collision. Okay, good. Right? Do you think all assurances, full coverage are the same? Okay. No. Okay. So in the state of Texas, you legally have to hold insurance. Did you know that? You have to have insurance in order to drive. If you don't have insurance and you get pulled over, you get a ticket. In the state of Texas, you have to have what we call limited liability limits. That means if you have insurance and liability, you have full coverage and liability, right? Liability is what? Who does it cover?
Oh, the other person.
Only the other person. It has nothing to do with your vehicle. You are not covered if you have liability coverage. The only person that you're covering is what? The other person. Because the state says, you're going to be driving out there and we're going to cover all those people you might hit. Okay? That's what liability insurance is. Okay? And we have liability limits of the minimum are what we call $30,000, $60,000, $25,000. How much is the average cost of a vehicle in Houston that's driving on the road? Ooh, a little higher. 45, definitely closer. The average vehicle driving on the road today is $41,000. Okay? The minimum liability limit that the state requires for you to have is only $25,000 in terms of property damage. Okay? So what does that mean for you? If you're driving your personal vehicle and you hit a vehicle that is $41,000 and you only have $25,000, what happens to you? Huh? You owe the rest. You can get sued for the rest. Okay? A lot of people don't realize that. So if you have minimum limits on your current coverage, please call your insurance agent. I don't know who it is, I don't know if it's the gecko, right? I don't know if it's Flo, I don't know if it would be me, but whoever it is, if it's Fred Boy, I don't care. Just at least call them and make sure that your minimum liability limits are 50, 100, 50. That's the minimum that I recommend. Of course, you can go up to 100, 300, 100. You can go up to 250, 500, 100. You can have a million, okay? But the minimum that I recommend is 50, 100, 50. Does that make sense? Okay? Because at the end of the day, if you hit someone and that vehicle is over 40,000 and you have 25,000 in coverage, you're screwed. Excuse my French.
So let me ask you, if somebody hits you and they have the minimal coverage and it doesn't cover your loss, does your insurance pick it up and then go after them?
Great question. So that goes into another coverage which we call uninsured motorist, okay? Uninsured motorist is a coverage that if someone hits you, they don't have enough insurance, this coverage kicks in to cover the difference, okay? So if they hit you and they have 25,000 in property coverage, okay? On your policy, if you have uninsured motorist, that coverage would kick in to pay for the rest, okay? If you didn't have that coverage, most of the time, your insurance company would require for you to claim it as a collision under your policy in order to get paid out, okay?
So we all know that the insurance company works under a point system.
Okay,
So does that count against us if our insurance carrier has to pick up the difference of
Great
an
question.
underinsured motorist?
great question. So how do rates come about, right? How do we get pricing, okay? I feel like sometimes it's like this huge Einstein equation that you look at the board of all these numbers and it like just doesn't make sense. But the biggest thing that insurance companies look at is what?
Risk assessment?
Okay, how many accidents you have in the past 5 years, okay? After 5 years, the accident falls off, okay? It's very important. The second thing is tickets, okay? The other thing that will happen is there's certain accidents that will affect your insurance and there's some that will not. If they are at fault and they're cost over $1,000 within State Farm, it's surchargeable. That means we can charge you more if you have an accident that's at fault, it's your fault, and it costs over $1,000, we're gonna charge you more a month, okay? If you, in this case, for example, someone hit you, they didn't have enough insurance, so your uninsured motorist coverage kicked in, that means it's not your fault. That claim is not going to affect you, okay? So any claims that are not at fault do not affect you, okay? Now, but if you have like 10 claims that not at fault within 2 years, there's something wrong, okay, right? The chances of that happening are very slim, okay? So that's what we call uninsured motorist coverage. Now, does the state require for you to have that coverage? No, it's optional, okay? But remember how many drivers are driving without insurance in Houston? A lot, right? So if you got in 3 accidents, 1 of them didn't have insurance, okay? So if you don't have that on your personal auto policy, please make sure that you do. Your guys here have it on their policy, so you guys are covered for hit and runs, okay? But personally, make sure that you have that, okay? But that coverage is optional. So we talked about liability, where you're gonna make sure that you have 50, 150. We also talked about uninsured motorists, make sure that you have uninsured motorists. Uninsured motorist covers you in the event of a hit and run, or if someone hits you and they don't have enough insurance. You wanna make sure that you're covered, right? We have deductibles of collision and comprehensive. And what is a standard deductible in Houston? You guys know? This means this money's coming out of your pocket, right?
$1,000 maybe?
Okay. For commercial, it's about 1,000. Personal, it's 500. Okay, $500 deductible. Could you have a 0 deductible? You could, but if you have a 0 deductible, that means you're gonna pay more monthly, right? Because you have little coming out of your pocket. Okay. Now, of course, if you have a high deductible, you're paying less. You guys with me? Okay. The other really important thing about your personal auto insurance, this is the last thing I'll touch on this one, is seatbelt protection. In the event, State Farm specifically has a plan called seatbelt protection. It's $3 per person for the 6 months. And in the event that you were to pass away in a car accident and you're wearing your seatbelt, State Farm would give your family $20,000. Isn't that crazy? We call it seatbelt protection. Now, if you weren't wearing your seatbelt, it would only be $10,000. Okay? This is not a life insurance policy. It's just a part of what we have within our policy. Most people do not understand what is in their auto policy, but State Farm, did you know that State Farm's been around for 99 years? Next year is our 100th anniversary, okay? We are the largest auto insurer, home insurer, and we're the third largest life insurer in the country, okay? We've seen a thing or two. We've had you in both hands, okay, right? You know, 15 minutes would save you about $600 a year with State Farm, okay? And like a good neighbor, we are here, okay? The best thing about State Farm is having a local agent, being able to call my cell phone, call my team. I take a lot of pride. I grew up in Houston, right? I grew up in the Heights. I went to Hamilton Middle School, right? Went to Lamar, very local. This is my 4th business that I've owned, right? I've been a State Farm agent for going on 10 years now. I know. Okay, 10 years, and I have over 40 years of insurance experience in our offices. I mean, we've seen everything. I've seen someone, boyfriend steal the vehicle, kidnap, you know, the insured. I've seen so many different items in terms of claims, okay? The most important thing is I know this is a little boring, like insurance, really? Like, it's not sexy, is it? It's like sometimes not fun, but at the end of the day, if you don't have the right coverage, your family, who here has a family? Who here is married? Okay, who here has kids? Okay, who here is the main breadwinner? Makes the money for the family, okay? It's important, especially you guys being the main breadwinner, if you got taken out, let's say you guys got disabled from a car accident, who's gonna take care of the family, right? Some of these insurance policies or coverage within your auto policy can help you with that, okay? And I know what I recommend, if who here has even looked at their insurance policy in the past 6 months? Ooh, okay, so yep, you would probably need to talk to me or like one of my associates, right, at my office, one of our auto specialists, just to see if you have the right coverage. And if you don't, we'll tell you, hey, go with this insurance company and say you need X, Y, and Z. Or if you want to see how much it is with us, 9 times out of 10, your personal auto insurance, we're saving you anywhere from $300 to $600 a year. What can you do with $300 and $600 a year? A lot, at least I know. I know I can buy like 10 pairs of shoes with that, okay? But I'm a girl, okay? So I just recommend, since you guys are the main breadwinners, since you guys are, if something happens to you, I just recommend to do that. Questions about auto insurance? I could probably speak for like 2 hours about it. I don't know.
So Brandon and I are veterans. Do we get veterans discounts?
Okay, so State Farm has the highest discounts within all insurance companies. Unfortunately, at this time, we don't have one specifically for veterans, but we have, I know, we have more discounts. We have a loyalty discount, we have a multi-car discount, we have a vehicle safety discount, we have a good driving discount, we have defensive driving. For young drivers, I don't know if you guys have like teenage drivers, we have the highest discounts for teenage drivers in any insurance company. The most important thing with State Farm is the longer you're with us, every 3, 6, and 9 years, you get additional discounts. So most of our customers are with us for years upon years and they don't end up leaving. Why? 1, they have great service. 2, they have the right coverage. And 3, no one can compete, okay? Because after 9 years, our rates are so, you have all these discounts that it just doesn't make sense to go anywhere else, right? Going into discounts, there's different ways that you can receive discounts within State Farm. The biggest discount you can receive is by bundling your policies, right? So who here has that homeowners? The home, yep, okay, right? Your home is probably one of the things that, the biggest asset, the biggest thing that you own, right? Besides like a vehicle, right? So your home insurance, I'm not gonna go over it too much because it's very detailed. But number one, in Houston, you need to have flood insurance. Flood insurance is not a part of your home policy. It is a complete separate policy. Did you know that?
I just knew it.
Oh, thank God. Okay. Especially as we're going to hurricane season. So a flood policy is actually through NFIP, National Flood Insurance Program. And for the year, it averages about $450. Okay, for the year. Now, your home policy, two things, okay? You want to make sure you have replacement costs, okay? That means that if your home, it has an evaluation of how much coverage it is, okay? It's either actual cash value or it's depreciated. Ooh, that's really bad. Okay, that means that they're gonna say, give me an example, how old is your home?
Built in 1982.
Okay, 1982. So, I'm not
4
really,
years. Something like that.
so how old is it?
About 40 years.
Okay, so 40 years, okay. So if you had an actual cash value, that means that if your house is worth 200,000, that means it would depreciate in 40 years. So you would actually get coverage for only the value of whatever. Yeah.
I just found out that it went up in value. I guess because of the house.
Oh my gosh, the cost of labor, the cost of wood.
Yeah. So does would I have to get it reevaluated with my insurance since?
Good question. Every year, your home insurance is reevaluated, and that's why it normally increases. It increases for inflation, but also the cost of material and the cost of labor. Okay, but the insurance company does it themselves. Trust me, they're gonna put it up according to like the industry. Okay, so they evaluate that every year. The next thing is your deductibles. Okay, some people don't realize that they have like a 5% deductible, and it ends up being like $30,000. Okay, or let's say the roof. The roof is actual cash value versus replacement cost. If you don't, the number one thing you should think about with homeowners is make sure you have replacement costs. Replacement cost means that we do not depreciate according to the age of the home. Okay? So if the TV that you have was damaged and it's 10 years old, are we gonna give you the cost of a TV that's 10 years old, or are we gonna replace it what it is new today? That's replacement cost. Replacement cost is how much it costs today. We are replacing the item, we're replacing the roof, we're replacing the home. So make sure you have replacement costs, okay? I could go in so many different things, but the last one for this one is water damage endorsement. You guys are what? Plumbers. The biggest claim you see in the house is due to water and a plumbing issue, okay? How many homes do you personally go into, right? You're replacing the plumbing. Do you think that's covered under the insurance? Look, they're shaking their heads no up here, okay? They're shaking their heads no. The endorsement on your home policy to cover seepages and leakages. Okay, question. How many of the people that you go out to their homes, or it's like a massive break? Or was it something that was dripping and leaking for a long time and it caused damage over a period of time? Which of those do you run into? The smaller leak, right? That is not covered under your home policy unless you have a water damage endorsement. Did you know that? Ah! Okay, we call it water damage endorsement, which covers seepages and leakages in a home. Okay? So as you're going out to all these homes, taking care of their home, let's make sure your home is taken care of properly, right? For all the plumbing needs, right? So you need a water damage endorsement. It covers leakages and seepages in the wall, okay? Let's say you bought a home and you didn't realize that there is some damage in the piping in the wall. Is that covered?
You have the water endorsement?
If you have the water damage endorsement, it is, at least with State Farm. Okay? Did you have a question?
So does State Farm offer a discount for products like the Flow by Mullen, which is an automatic water shut off?
So, you know, Tony and I were talking about that. At this time, we do not, okay? But I know, I actually talked to our underwriters about it like over a month ago, and those type of products are in the works. So I would probably say in January that there'll be extra discounts for that.
Farmers does.
I know Farmers does. Farmers does, I think Allstate does. It just depends. Yeah, so did you know that Farmers has 4 different homeowner policies, right? State Farm only has 1, okay? We're like the meta, we're like the Rolls Royce. Like, the other thing too is, if you have like a $200,000 home and your home insurance is $700, probably not gonna cover a lot, okay, right? Let's be honest, you know, how much coverage are you gonna get for $700 a year, okay? So the other thing too is, if you wanna compare home policies, OPIC, the Office of Public Insurance Council, is online, and it compares every single home policy in the state of Texas, okay? So when someone comes to me and is like, I'm shopping, I'm comparing State Farm versus Farmers versus Allstate, you know, Allstate has 16 different home policies, okay? So with State Farm, we just have 1, and it's the best of the best, okay? And so sometimes we may not be the most affordable. I'll be honest with you, all the home policies that I've seen come in the past year, we went through 2 rate decreases on home policies, even through some of these catastrophic claims. And on our auto side, we've gone through 3 rate decreases in 2 years. Why can State Farm do that? Why are other companies increasing their rates and State Farm is actually decreasing the rates? Why is that? You know why? Because State Farm, we've been doing this for 99 years, and we know how to price out according to the risk on the front end. And in the beginning, State Farm, no matter what on your auto insurance, on the home insurance, we will rate the risk and underwrite in the beginning. Geico, some of these other companies don't even look at the risk for underwriting until 6 months later, a year later. They give you an introductory price, right? And then later it increases because they actually look at the underwriting, okay? State Farm, we underwrite everything on the front end, okay? We look at everything, and we've been doing this a long time, and so we know where our rates are going to be, 1, competitive, and 2, we have the most reserves. Like, if you wanna go with a rinky-dink company, especially for home insurance, I do not recommend doing it, because they may have these claims and not have enough money to pay your claim. How much money do they have in reserves, right? State Farm for Texas has more reserves than the FDIC of the nation, okay? To make sure that we can pay out. We're the largest insurer, so we need to have the most reserves in the event that we have all these claims. To what? To pay out, okay? The really cool thing about State Farm, especially on the fire side, on the home side, is that I have the authority to write out checks on behalf of the claim department. Did you know that? That means I've had many times where there's been a total loss, like the whole house goes up in the flames, right? And I show up, and you know, this happened last year. You know, it was a family, 3 kids, the mom and the dad. So you had 4 adults, 3 children, and all their stuff is gone. The husband had to go to work. He didn't have any work boots. He didn't have any clothes to go to work, right? The baby's crying. They need diapers. They don't have a place to stay. And I was able to write a $4,000 check on the spot for them, right? No other company can do that, okay? That's why having a local State Farm agent is important to do, right? So there's a lot of great things and if you don't like State Farm, that's okay too. I'll just help you with your current insurance company and tell you what to do with them, right? In terms of coverage, right? All in all, I could go over so many more things, but I know I've been talking for about 40 minutes, right? The last thing I do want to talk about is life insurance, right? We talked a little bit about auto, home, make sure you have renter's insurance, but life insurance. That's the one insurance that you know you'll use. Did you know that?
Eventually.
Eventually, you're gonna use it. Do you know if you're gonna get in a car accident? No. Do you know if you're gonna use your auto insurance? No. Do you know if you're gonna get a home claim? No. You're not. You don't know if that's gonna happen. But life insurance is the one insurance policy that you know you're gonna use, and you never know when you're gonna use it. So if you don't have it, just get something. All of you guys are the main breadwinners for your families, right? If something were to happen, what would the family do, right? You need to pay off the home. You need to replace income. You guys have kiddos. A lot of people don't realize, but $100,000, $250,000 of life insurance is $20 a month, $30 a month, right? That's less than you drink with beers on the weekend, right? Probably just like one night, okay? So like, just making sure that you guys understand that, and it's super easy, okay? In your packets as well, there is a sheet. If you have any questions or want me to reach out to you in regard to anything on the commercial side, anything on the personal side, you can definitely give me your information and I'll reach out to you at another time. If not, does anyone have any questions about insurance? Did you guys learn something this morning? Let's be honest. You learned something, right? Y'all are gonna be safer drivers, right? You're gonna check your auto insurance policies, make sure it's 51 150. Make sure you have your replacement cost coverage. Make sure you have uninsured motorists. Make sure you have flood. Make sure you have life insurance. Right? Any
And give you the
questions?
opportunity to quote their insurance, right?
Yeah, and if you guys want me to quote your insurance, great. And if you don't, and you want me just to review what you have, I'm fine with that too, right? I've been doing this a long time. So, and if it makes sense for you to stay where you are, I'll tell you, hey, stay where you are, but make sure you do this. Make sure you do that, okay? A lot of people sometimes have what is it? Not AAA. Oh my gosh. Veterans? Everybody just lost me the company that.
The USA?
USAA.
USAA.
Yeah, USAA. I love USAA, right? But we also are really competitive with USAA, okay? I love their company. So if you guys have them as well, I do recommend taking a separate look. Anyone have any questions? No? Okay, take that business card out. Put it in your wallet because if you get in an accident, you're gonna be like, what do I do? How do I do? All the things. And you'll see that there's 2 offices. Both of my offices are on that card. Okay. Any questions in regard to insurance? I don't want to keep y'all up because what time is y'all's first?
What time is it now?
8:45. You guys have your what does the day look like? You guys need to be somewhere by a certain time? Okay, good.
As far as discounts for the company,
Yes.
what are some things that we can do as owners and employees to maximize the discounts for insurance?
Yeah, I recommend to have a defensive driving class for the guys, right? So just like a 3-hour class, right? And everyone gets defensive driving certificates.
Can we have that as a company? Have somebody come in and do
Oh,
it?
100%, yeah.
Mhm.
As an insurance company, I used to host them like 4 times a year. People would just come in and so they get the extra discount, right? I can't do that anymore because of COVID, right? But I can do like smaller stuff. I can look into getting with my
Can you do it
person to come in.
virtually?
Yeah, you can totally
Over
do it
Zoom or
virtually.
something?
Yeah, yeah. If they're in live classes, it's a lot quicker. There's those other classes that are like the funny cartoons, but those take what, like 8 hours? 6 hours. Yeah, I don't know if you want to do that, but yeah, you can do it. That's the best thing because it would give all of your drivers that defensive driving, right? And then of course, like multiple vehicles give multiple discounts, so that's something that we already have as well. Right?
Now, we do have cameras on all of our, but that, you don't provide a camera discount or anything like that, right? Tracking.
No, but we do cover the cameras, right? We do cover those if those are stolen or taken.
So, yeah, that's surprising that they don't give a discount on the cameras because that also gives us tracking on our vehicles. If it's stolen, we know where it's at, so it's a lot easier to recover.
Exactly.
We also, it gives us the ability to monitor the vehicle, the driving of the vehicle,
Exactly.
harsh driving incidents.
Telematics.
To us, yeah.
Yes, yes. So right now we have telematics for our personal vehicles, right? You get a drive safe and safe beacon put in the vehicle, you get extra discounts for that. You get, and that's on the personal side. On the commercial side in January, they're supposed to come out with this telematics and extra discounts for that, yeah. So, that is coming down the road as well.
Yeah, so it's a big cost for us, so
Oh.
it'd be nice to take advantage of, some savings.
Oh, most definitely. I completely agree with you, right? That is coming in January as well.
You know, small business owners are always looking for discounts, right?
Always. I agree. I'm a small business owner, so I understand. Okay, great.
Well, thank you
guys.
very much.
Yes. If you guys have any questions or concerns or need anything, my phone number's there. If you guys call in, say I met Angelica with Hexagon Plumbing, right? So they know, and we can get you guys all register properly. Great.